Yeah, thanks for being on. Can you frame this start of the Avalanche in terms of what they've been, even some of their great teams over the years, and what this start compares to?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, when you look at what they did last night, and first or fourth team I think in history through 20 games to only have one regulation loss, I think that frames it pretty well. Just shows where they've kind of been, I guess, shot out of the gates. Um, they they're finding different ways to win is kind of my biggest takeaway.
Mm.
2 games ago against the Islanders, MacKinnon doesn't have a point. Your second line gets 2 goals. Your third line gets a goal. You've got contributions up and down the lineup. Obviously, last night MacKinnon, Makar, Natchez all have big games. The superstars on the Avs can outplay the superstars on any other team in my mind. But then when you factor in the depth that the Avs have. The second line has really started to come around. They're clicking now. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Brindley going forward. But
Mm.
Colton is skating as well as we've seen him skate. Nelson looks extremely comfortable and now, really starting to fire the puck. The third line, they've got some great chemistry. Jack Drury, I think that was a question mark going into the season. Is he a fourth line center? Is he a third line center? I think he's done a tremendous job as a third line center. And now Gabe Landeskog, I think, had arguably his best game of the season last night. Olofsson continues to score. And the fourth line has just done a tremendous job. Parker Kelly really kind of taken Bardakov under his wing. And then the D, I mean, Makar, he's been nothing short of amazing, but the steadiness of Brent Burns, Josh Manson's had a really good year. Goaltending. I mean, Wedgwood. Last night, I think the Rangers came out of the gates really. They came out of the gates strong. Obviously, got the power play goal early, but Wedgwood he's been making the saves, the big saves when they're needed. And I think that's the biggest thing. He's giving the Avs a chance to win each and every night when he plays. And Mackenzie Blackwood trending back to where he needs to be is a positive because in the end, it's crazy to say, but I think the Avs can get better with Blackwood getting back to where they believe him or where they believe he can be, and then Logan O'Connor coming back. These
Mm.
guys getting healthy. Val Nichushkin. It's crazy to say, but even with a start where they have one regulation loss in 20 games, I still think the Avs can be better, and we're not even talking about the power play at this point.
Which can always get better also. I said this a while ago. They're doing this, something only 3 other teams have done it, and one of those teams did it in the 20s. So let's, we're talking
Exactly.
we're talking 100 years ago almost.
Yeah,
Um,
there's 6 teams
and
at the time.
they're basically doing it with their backup goalie.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah, yeah. Now,
Yeah, well, Scott's being
let's be honest.
snarky.
Wedgwood isn't playing like a backup goalie right now, right? And
Oh,
I
I
think
agree. Yeah.
when they brought him in, it was for stability. When Georgiev was still the starter, you had Annunen who was younger, and they felt that he, the Georgiev needed a little bit more stability in the backup position. But what I would say is Wedgwood is the equivalent of the Pavel Francouz of the 1B. And right now, what you're seeing is your 1B has elevated his game to the point of he essentially is a starter, and that's because Blackwood isn't right there. But he said it when he signed his extension. The way that he views himself as a starter, but at the same time, he knows the dynamic of where he and Blackwood fall. He's probably going to get 30 to 35 starts on the season, and there's a reason why he wanted to sign with Colorado. He and his family love the city, they love the organization, they love the team, and he knows the dynamic. And so he is that 1B where you're not looking at, okay, here's your starter and here's your backup. This is a goalie tandem where it doesn't matter who you put out there any given night, they are going to give you a chance to win.
John, I was at a bar last night working the football game, but they got the Avalanche on there as well, and I started paying attention at some point in the second, and I'm like, feels like they've had the puck for like the entire thing, like they're just in control of this, and then I look it up, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they outshot them something like 18-4. How does that happen? I mean, what did you see during
Mm-hmm.
that period that they're able to just take total control of the game?
Well, listen, New York came out of the gates really well last night. Like I said, they got the power play goal. What I really liked about the Avs last night is they battled back in the first and second period and scored to tie it. So they're not going into an intermission down one at home after having played so well. The second period, they really started to take over. They had extended shifts in the offensive zone. They hemmed New York in on multiple occasions. The New York goal was essentially a quick strike goal where the Avs had it in the offensive zone, and in the end they had it in there for a longer amount of time. And guys were tired on the back check after being in the offensive zone so much, and New York gets a quick strike goal. But they you could just tell that they're rolling right now, and that second period really, to me, you could just see that it's a team that knows that they're playing well, and they know that they had the game in hand, regardless of being down a goal or tied. They're comfortable playing on home ice. They're comfortable playing from behind. They're comfortable with a lead right now. It's a team that's very confident, and it's fun to watch because I'm up there doing color for home games, and there's times where I almost forget to talk because you're just so into the action and what the Avs are doing with the puck and how dangerous they are at all times. And it is. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see, and it's an amazing atmosphere to be a part of at Ball Arena.
All right, let's talk luck or skill. So after the game, because that wraparound from Kale, that is so. John, how many wraparound goals you got in your career?
If you want to go back to mites, I might have 3, but
okay. All right. To me, the wraparound is such an awesome way to score. It's really, really cool. So I'm figuring there's got to be something to it, right? There's got to be something that you're looking for, because a lot of times with the wraparound, you're actually just bouncing it off the goalie and getting it in. So what from one of the best player in the world's perspective, what is he looking at? And I asked Kale that, and he just goes, "I'm just happy if it goes over the the goal line." And I'm like, "All right, well, what the hell is this?" So what mixture of skill and luck goes into a move like that, and frankly, scoring at all?
I'm going to say it's about 90. With Kale, if it was me, it would be 90% luck, 10% skill. But because it's Kale, it's 90% skill and 10% luck. He's first of all, it's a 3-on-4 when the Avs start up the ice. So Devon Toews drives through. You've got MacKinnon and Natchez with a drop pass, and Kale comes late. And so that read from not only Kale but from Natchez, and he makes that little saucer pass kind of through the Rangers defense to Kale streaking down. And I think what Kale's seeing is, okay, what's Shesterkin's angle? What's his look? Shesterkin committed pretty aggressively to Kale. And so once that happens, if there's not a look where Kale says, okay, I'm hammering this shot, then he sells shot and he's going around. The other thing I'll say, and I will break this down before our game, for the Avs game tomorrow on pregame, but Devon Toews was the one that drove the net. So now you have a D-man who's in the crease, and he runs interference on Gavrikov, so that when Kale sells the shot and goes for the wraparound, that D-man in front a lot of times will step over and get his stick in the way. Adam Fox tries to dive in and he misses, but Gavrikov can't get his stick over there because Devon Toews interferes with him perfectly. So Devon Toews doesn't end up with a point on this, but for me, that's, there's so many little things that go into a play like that. Devon Toews knows exactly what he's doing. He doesn't allow Gavrikov to get his stick over there to stop Kale's wraparound. And in the end, Kale sells the shot so well that Shesterkin has to essentially throw everything he can to the far post, and he's not able to get there and cover it in time. And Kale, part of him being able to complete that wraparound, I really firmly believe is the curve on his stick, because it's so hard as you're falling away to essentially toe over the puck when you're behind the goal line and wrap it around that post. More often than not, you end up hitting the post, or it just goes shooting straight across the goal line. So there's so much skill involved. Yes, there's a small amount of luck. But because it's Cale Makar, it is almost 100% skill and a lot less luck than I think people realize.
See, that was an incredible breakdown. Why didn't Cale just say all that last night in the locker room?
Because because he's a Norris Trophy winner and he's not an analyst.
Yeah, he's not an analyst.
I know
exactly.
What you're
He's
okay.
He processes it at such a high rate of speed. I'm just for me, it's just so fun looking at all the dynamics and little things that go into that play being successful.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things, the Taves part stood out to me because not only is it Cale going around the net, but Devon Taves, who's the other defenseman, is standing in the crease. So you've got, that's when you're playing at a really high level as a team. Yeah. Exactly. Because you're not worried about the odd man rush going the other way. One, because your goalie's playing amazing. And two, because that you have the ability to score that. You're not worried about it going the other way. Devon Taves in the crease, running interference, and Cale Makar makes that move. I mean, that's you grow up, you're taught 1D up, 1D back. If somebody's jumping, you have to be back covering. Well, guess what? They're shooting that one right down, just given the way they're playing.
Listen, to answer D-Mac, Johnny, I once took a lesson from a dude. He was in his 70s. He was still a plus on his handicap in golf. He's in the Kansas Golf Hall of Fame. And he goes, well, hit a few shots. And they're out there, and I hit like a handful of shots, 7-iron. I'm 6'10", so my club's a little bigger. He goes, here, let me see your club. He takes my club, hits 7 balls, and you could probably put a blanket on top of the 7 when he landed. Hands me back the club and says, just do it like that.
Yeah, just do it like that. It's just that easy. That's, yeah. I mean, I love golf more than anything, but yeah, it's those guys that say just do it like that drive you nuts more than anyone else.
Is Cale?
That's Makar when D-Mac asks him, well, how do you use it? Well,
just do it.
Whatever. Here, John, I'll play you the conversation. It's hysterical.
Hey, on the wraparound, do you look for something specific to bounce the puck off of? What when you do that, what are you looking for to finish on there?
Mostly for the puck to cross the goal line is what I'm looking for.
Okay. All right.
I mean, hey,
seems pretty simple.
Listen, it's the best player in the world, and he's probably holding back a little bit, just given he doesn't want to give away trade secrets. But I would say
he's humble
when you're performing. Yeah, he's humble when you're performing at that level. Yeah. It's just such a natural thing. And we talked about it on the post game last night when your team is playing so well, it's like you go on the ice and you're not thinking. You're just playing, and that's the best part. And it doesn't matter if it's basketball, if it's hockey, right? Like when you're playing at your highest level, you just play, and it's the best feeling in the world.
That's awesome.
And as skilled as they are, if you go back down the stat sheet, Makar and Taves both had 3 or 4 hits, and they had 3 or 4 blocks, blocking shots. Yeah. I mean, they still had all that too. Which, listen, I'm glad we got guys that are offensive minded and can do stuff. But I need a guy back there that can take a puck away or block a shot, and they're doing that also.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
all right.
They're 200-foot players. It is impressive to see on a nightly basis.
All right, you got a couple of your weekends busy. We got at Nashville, at Chicago. So look for the games on Altitude TV. Listen to the games here on Altitude Radio and JML. We really appreciate it.
Are you guys off on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, they are.
We are off on Thanksgiving. They play the night before and the day after, I believe.
So what? Well, since you're in your cabinet, I always watch you with Dummy back in the studio. What wine are we serving for Thanksgiving?
Oh, good question.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I gotta think about that. I think it's going to depend on who's involved. If Kiefer's involved, it's going to be boxed wine. If Riker's involved, it's probably going to be
what he brings from the store.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, he doesn't have the store anymore, so it's probably the cheapest thing that he can find on the shelf that's not boxed, because he won't go down the boxed wine route.
All right, my man. Well, we'll be watching you over the weekend, and go Avs, go! It's a blast. Thank you, JML.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, have a good one.
A reminder.